the busiest cities in Oakland County is Troy, Michigan, home to many a small business, including our team at My Michigan TV. Joining us now is the mayor of Troy, Ethan Baker, with us once again on the Oakland County Megacast. Mayor Baker, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, good morning, Tyler. Good to see you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, good to see you as well. It's been a while since we've last had you on the program. We're mostly through the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic, it would seem, at this juncture. So give us an update on the overall state of the city of Troy at this moment in time. Obviously, during the throes of the pandemic, the business community took a major hit, and that is a huge component of the city. But overall, how's the city doing at this time?
Yeah, sure. Well, overall, I think the city is doing great. You know, I'm a big proponent of all the good things we're doing in the city of Troy, and we continue to do good and big things. And I love hearing people say it looks like we're getting through the worst part of COVID and we're getting back to some normalcy. It feels that way. I certainly see a lot more traffic out on the roads. I'm seeing parking lots at our office buildings with a lot more cars than were there even 3 months ago. So it looks like it's a good sign, which will have huge positive effects for our city. Maybe not traffic as a whole, but the concept of the economy and keeping our small businesses and filled with customers and people shopping and people eating. It's an important part of our local economy. But City of Troy is doing really great. I can't complain. I wouldn't anyway, probably. But truthfully, I'm really proud of where our city's at.
Mayor, we're just a short time away from July 1st, which is the beginning of the new fiscal year in the city of Troy. Your budget for the 2022-2023 year is complete. What are some of the priorities in this year's budget that you and the city council in Troy have put forth for the residents?
Sure, that's great. I'm glad you asked. So I did a State of the City address last month in mid-May or so, and we talked about a lot of these new exciting projects and some of the big visions we have for the city of Troy. But some of the big highlights for us are we're really focusing on capital improvements in this budget. Obviously, with some of the federal money coming from the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Recovery Act, of course, and some of the other grants, like we got some community development funds through our congressional office, Congresswoman Haley Stevens. We're able to make some big investments into our city. We're doing a big new park project on the Civic Center campus. It's an expansion of the new Gene M. Stein Community Park, where we're adding an ice skating river and ribbon, a new pavilion. It's going to be a great community gathering space, and I'm really excited about that. So we have a big focus on that in our budget. Obviously, we're continuing to focus on public safety, increasing the resources at all levels for our police and fire departments, including new equipment, including additional dollars for hiring of police officers. And we've reworked some of their benefits package, making sure we're staying competitive in the state to make sure we get good applicants to the Troy Police Department. And the rest of the budget part is really just focusing on what our residents are really after, which is continued good quality of life in the city of Troy. So we focus on our parks, we focus on our city roads, obviously, and infrastructure in that respect. And like I said, the public safety. So it's a pretty exciting budget for us because of these additional federal dollars that have come to us and allowing us to make some big capital improvements. But it really is just a good focus on what our residents have long sought and why they chose Troy in the first place.
So you mentioned the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, and those dollars having a significant impact on capital improvements in the city. $2.2 million in American Rescue Plan funds going to the city of Troy that will be in effect in the next fiscal year, beginning on July 1st this summer. Can you elaborate on the capital improvement projects that are already proposed to be using these funds or on the docket or even just being discussed in the city of Troy, so that the residents and the businesses, visitors alike, will all know some of the improvements that you and your city council intend to make in the city?
Sure, and I touched on them a little bit already, but more specifically, so we're getting a total of actually $8.2 million in ARPA funds that needs to be spent within their guidelines. 4.5 million of that is going to that new park expansion with the ice skating ribbon and the pavilion. So that's a huge investment in a park project, and about a little more than half of our ARPA dollars. We also are using a good portion of them, and I don't have the number off the top of my head, but we're replacing some fire apparatus. So a new fire truck, some other big equipment, and those are big dollar tickets. You'd be amazed how much it costs to buy a fire truck, or maybe you wouldn't, but it's well over $1 million just for one truck, which is fascinating to me, but so important, obviously. The other thing we're doing is, putting money back into our roads. We continue to have good roads in the city of Troy. When looking at our neighboring communities, we consistently hear, as soon as I cross, whether it's DeQuinder from the east or Adams from the west, people always say, we know we're in Troy because the roads are a better quality. And that's because we've spent a lot of our own, general fund tax dollars to repair roads that maybe should be more joint projects with the county road commission or even some state projects. But we put a focus on that. We don't mind spending the extra dollars because we know our residents and businesses depend on that.
Yeah, some of those road projects that are affecting your city are happening in adjacent cities and in Troy. One of those is Maple Road between Coolidge and DeQuinder. Can you talk about the status of that work and between yourself and your city, your adjacent cities, and the county's road commission, where that project is at, how much longer that has to go before that traffic is no longer impacted coming into and, of course, going out of Troy?
Right. Well, yeah, that is a county road project that it pretty much just started, unfortunately. That's the bad news. And they're down to one lane in each direction at this point, but it stretches the entirety of our city from pretty much, well, doesn't quite go to Adams, but from Coolidge all the way to DeQuinder. And, I want to stress how important it is for everybody to know that all the businesses along Maple Road, they're still open and they're still depending on us to go there. So please continue to use those restaurants and businesses, but it is a joint project. It's a county project. But, we border Clawson through there and some of even Royal Oak. So, I mean, the three cities are affected by it. And it is a newly started project, so it'll last through the rest of the construction season is my anticipation. By the time they do all of the grinding and milling and then relaying of the asphalt and any infrastructure work that needs to be done along the way. It'll be a great once it's finished, but it is definitely disruptive in the process.
Yeah, it's one of those things, the roads that are such key investments in cities and certainly at the county level where non-cities rely on the county's road commission for funding and for, of course, the repairs and maintenance of those roads. But it's one of those that you see the investment so far after, and once you deal with the frustration, the benefits can be amounting. That's similar for response from first responders. And in Troy, there was recently an incident. There's a fire at the Capitol Grill at Somerset Collection, and it was very quick response, very swift response by the fire department in Troy to extinguish the fire and to deal with the residual effects of that fire at Somerset and secure the area. Can you speak to how that impacts yours and the city council's emphasis, particularly in the budget, on putting more funds into those first responder agencies in your city to continue to attract new people and be competitive in attracting new talent into those departments, but also to maintain what they have currently in place? Because as we saw at the Capitol Grill, those response times being quick can have a major impact.
Certainly, a lot of questions there, Tyler. I'll do my best to remind me if I miss one. But first and foremost, I mean, we're so thankful that there were no injuries in this fire, and we did have an amazingly rapid response from our first responders and our fire department especially. And during it that evening, I was talking to both the principal owner, Nate Forbes, of Somerset Collection, as well as his community relations person, Linda McIntosh. And in two separate conversations, they both said to me how amazing our Troy Fire Department was. I mean, Linda was calling them rock stars, and Nate Forbes, who he was just saying how quick they were on the spot and how wonderful it was. And I think some of that goes to how unique our fire department is. We're the largest fire department in Oakland County, but the uniqueness of us is that we're a primarily volunteer fire department, which is different than all of our communities around us. We've got a very small paid full-time staff in the fire department that handles mostly inspections and obviously our leadership. But then we've got about 165 volunteer firefighters that live and work throughout the city. And they're the primary firefighters. They're the ones that keep us safe. And we've had this system in place for about 80 years. So we often get asked, how do you replicate that in other places? Because on paper, it looks like a big cost saving way to do a fire department. But the reality is you couldn't replicate it and start now. I mean, we've organically grown that way for 80 years, so we're able to do that. But our ISO ratings, which is how firefighters and fire departments are rated, are high and comparable as every other paid fire department. So I'm really proud of our team. But I think how that plays into effect here is something kind of unique. We've got 6 fire stations throughout the city, but they're not fully staffed with firefighters at all times. All of our volunteers have pagers, and they've got all their equipment ready to go in their personal automobiles, whether they're working at their job around the city or if they're at home. And so I talked to, for example, the next morning I ran into a firefighter named Paul Chambers, who I know pretty well, and I saw him at Starbucks. There's a plug for Starbucks. But I ran into him and I said, Paul, you were down there, obviously, what happened? And so ironically, he was the first person on the scene as a firefighter once the call went out, because he was just under a mile away on Coolidge, just south of Waddles, driving when he saw smoke in his rearview mirror. And he turned around instinctively. And then, of course, the page went out. So he got there right away, got his equipment on right away, and was right on the spot, as was our police captain, Andy Satterfield, who happens to also be a firefighter. He was in the area, and he got there, and he made some quick decisions. But I think you can all imagine, I mean, Somerset Collection in the city of Troy, it's one of the things we're most known for in this city. And I always get asked about it, whether I'm here or anywhere else. And imagine how I was at a charity event for Evans Scholars, and my phone is blowing up saying things like Somerset on fire. And the panic in that for anybody was quite something. So I feel very badly for the Capitol Grill, but I'm very thankful that it was pretty much limited to the Capitol Grill and didn't affect the day-to-day operations of the collection as a whole. But again, to your earlier question, yes, an absolute testament to why we spend so much money investing in resources for our fire department, our police officers, and first responders, because when something like this happens, we want to make sure we handle it with the utmost professionalism, quickest response time, and with the best equipment available to keep everybody safe.
More information on the Troy Fire Department and everything else happening in the city on their website, troymi.gov. That's troymi.gov for more information. And like so many other suburbs in the Metro Detroit area, in Oakland County and in surrounding counties also, Troy is one of the many communities participating in this year's Detroit Institute of Art's Inside Out program, where replicas of classic art pieces are being spread throughout these cities in a variety of locations. Can you speak to some of the locations in Troy where some of these pieces can be found?
Yeah, we're very honored to be part of the DIA Inside Out program. We really value public art in our city. We're working actually to expand the public art opportunities. Primarily the pieces that are in the Inside Out program this year are around our Civic Center campus. So whether that's City Hall, the Troy Public Library, our community center, our Troy Racquet Club, those are the places on the Civic Center campus. We've also got some at the new Gene M. Stein Community Park, and then further north in the city I think there's one at Bolin Park, and also at the Stage Nature Center. So we just did a tour on Saturday. You could do a bike tour or a walking tour, see the different pieces. It's really a unique project, and I really recommend anybody who isn't familiar to get out there and look at them, because it's neat to see the replicas, but it's also, there's a little bit of informational plaques there. You learn a little bit about it. I think it's a great program.
Yeah, it's a great program. It's in Oakland County, Wayne County, and Macomb County, all in partnership with the Detroit Institute of Arts. You can learn more information by going to the DIA's website or by going to Troy's website at troymi.gov to find all the places in Troy you can explore some of these replicas of classic art pieces all throughout the bustling metropolis of Troy and in other areas all across Oakland County. We're joined by Troy Mayor Ethan Baker on the Oakland County Megacast. Mayor, the Troy Farmers Market is open once again for the summer, and I understand it's in a different location this year than it's been in the past.
Yeah, this is our 5th year doing the Troy Farmers Market. We've got a great market manager, Cindy Stewart, who is very proud of the farmers market that we do in Troy. We just opened on Friday. This summer, it's Fridays from 11 to 4. And it's in that new Gene M. Stein Community Park that I just spoke about, which is right in our Civic Center campus on Town Center Drive. If you're familiar, it's right by the skate park that we have there. But it's a great new location. It's a great new park that's going to, like I said, expand in the next 2 years. But I was there on Friday myself, walking around. I brought the kids, great vendors, great community, feel. It was beautiful weather, which helped obviously, but people were really happy to have our farmers market back. We've got a great mix of vendors that, fresh produce, fresh meats, obviously some desserts and cookies. And it's not like a flea market. We don't have a lot of products. We do food only. So it's just awesome. We've got some live music that plays throughout, and about twice a month, I go and do market meetups with the mayor, where I'm pretty much standing there for an hour or two and talking to residents as they come in and answering questions and having good conversations. I did that last summer, and it was one of the best things that I did to get a real good feel of what's going on in the community and how people feel. So I'm doing some more of that this summer as well.
One of your Oakland County neighbors in Clarkston is celebrating the 50th year of one of the great musical institutions in the local area at Pine Knob. 50 years of operations as of this summer, and it was actually a developer, the builder of the Pine Knob Music Theater was from Troy. Can you speak to what you know about that individual and how he conceived Pine Knob, but also some of the other projects maybe in the local area that this Troy builder ended up being crucial in creating?
Sure. Actually, I was just reading, there was an article in the Free Press yesterday that talked a little bit about the family's history in developing Pine Knob. And he did speak about how his manufacturing shop was in the city of Troy, and he was based in Troy, and the family really did, it was kind of their brainchild. Obviously, today we look at these outdoor, what are they called? Not auditoriums, but the outdoor pavilions, and they're very common throughout our country. But at the time, there were really only 3 major ones 50 years ago. And Pine Knob, they wanted to do this because they thought this is going to be a great addition to this area. Detroit is known for its love of music and rock and everything, and I thought it was really going to do well. And they were right 50 years later, right? It's one of the pre-pandemic 2019, it was the most successful outdoor pavilion in the country from a concert standpoint. But he did a lot of projects throughout the whole Metro Detroit area, and I'm always proud when a Troy business is responsible for doing some great things. And it's a neat part of that Pine Knob history, especially to know that some of the important construction aspects and infrastructure out of Pine Knob were constructed right here in the city of Troy. That I'm going to add to this. Interestingly, people don't often talk about this much anymore, but the designer of the original Twin Towers, Yamasaki, he also was based in Troy, right on Big Beaver. So we've got a lot of history. The projects that don't just happen here in Metro Detroit, but throughout the country and the world. So there's a lot of good things happening in Troy always. Good people here. It's a good place to do business, and it has global outreach.
Mayor, just about a minute left before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else we haven't touched on about the city of Troy, or things we should be looking out for in the near future as we head into summer in Troy?
Yeah, summer in Troy is a great place to be. Obviously, our farmers market's back. We've got new movie nights under the stars starting in that new Gene M. Stein Community Park. The first one is actually this Wednesday evening. A movie, you can get there early for ice cream and things around 8:30, but the movie will start about 9:30 when it's dark. We're doing Sing 2 as the first movie. We've got 3 or 4 other movies throughout the summer. We've got our concert series in Bowling Park that we do, great outdoor concerts venue. These are all free events that you can come to and just hang out on the grass, bring your own chair, blanket, enjoy some music, enjoy the movies. And obviously, we continue to support our healthcare heroes here in Troy. We've got some important work still being done by all of these people who have earned our respect, or should definitely earn our respect. And again, I encourage everybody to get out. Even if there's construction, spend the extra couple minutes sitting through that traffic to get to your favorite place along Maple Road or any other place there's going to be construction in Troy. Because one of the things that we've learned is that people need to be constantly reminded that a place is open, and you don't think about it, but you sit an extra 2 minutes, it can be worth it to go to Shields Pizza, for example, one of your favorite pizza places in Troy or something like that. So don't forget about the small businesses. They depend on you still patronizing them, even through construction.
Mayor, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate the opportunity as always. Good to see you.